Hello again, Reg Techies. Welcome to the only podcast that helps employers and recruiters connect with more candidates through technology-inspired conversations. Recruiting technology is the key to hiring great talent, and that's why this show exists. So Adzuna bought Getwork last week. The site's been around, been an employer's only job search engine. It was spun out of Minneapolis-based job market company LinkUp just a year ago, and the business has been connecting job seekers with employers for over 20 years now. Doug Monro is the CEO of Adzuna, the acquiring company, and he joins me now via Zoom from London. Doug, great to have you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So congrats on the acquisition. And I want to start first by giving us a sense of the reach of Adzuna today. I think most of my audience probably has heard of you, but give me a sense of the market you're in and where you are today.
Yeah, so I founded Adzuna with my co-founder Andrew about 11 years ago, and started in the UK, but we've grown over time to 20 markets. We were in 16. We added 4 more: Switzerland, Belgium, Mexico, and Spain in the last year. And the business is truly global. I mean, even before this deal, the US is our largest market. We've been there for 5 years and growing very quickly. Overall, about 100 people in the business, and about across multiple offices, and tens of millions of visitors to our websites every month.
Yeah, very cool. Is your revenue model strictly CPC? Do you have other products you sell to employers, or give me a sense of what you guys offer?
Yeah, it's nearly all cost per click, performance-based advertising. We sell to job boards and increasingly to agencies and end employers as a business. I think we sort of started in the job board world as many others did, and then have moved increasingly over time to offer those solutions to employers and their agencies as well. Gotcha.
So tell me how the deal came together. Give me a sense of how long it took and when you started the actual conversations.
So I guess like many of these things, we've known the team at LinkUp and Jobdig and Getwork for a number of years. I know Toby Dayton, who leads the LinkUp business, and Brad and some others in the team. We've partnered with them commercially over the years in a couple different ways, and admired and got to know the business. So that's often a good start if you're thinking of doing something together. And in the last couple of years, I think LinkUp and Toby had become much more of a data company, of a job data business. They had these 2 businesses. They had a job data business and a job search engine business. And over the last couple of years, they became open to the concept of spinning those 2 and separating those 2. They could see reasons to focus on the data business. And so because we knew them and had been talking to them for a while, you know, that opportunity arose. That we were fortunate enough that they came and spoke to us when they started thinking about that. And, you know, we stepped in to secure it. So, I mean, the deal itself took us probably less, between 3 and 6 months from really actively having that conversation to closing the deal and announcing it. We closed it a couple of weeks before the announcement. So it's still pretty fresh. Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those where as we started the conversation, we weren't quite sure if it was right. And the more we dug into the business, the more excited we got about it.
Going back to that question, what do you think? What were some of the pitfalls you were wary of in a deal like this? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. My job 20 years ago was actually M&A at eBay. So I've done quite a lot of this stuff in different ways before. And I think, you know, there are a lot of things you start off thinking a deal is a good idea, but consolidation deals are often bad ideas. You might lose, you know, you might destroy value, you lose clients and partners because you're offering the same thing to 2 different people. So we wanted to make sure there wasn't that much overlap, and actually a lot of unique things that are coming to the party. A lot of the clients are unique. We've got different technologies and different strengths within the businesses. So that was really good. You know, culture and alignment of the people is really important, and that's difficult across countries as well, you know. So we spent a lot of time talking to the team and getting to know them. And I think, you know, what's under the hood, right? And in Getwork, we found really a stellar reputation for service delivery, trusted by great clients, doing things properly. And that, you know, you're probably not around for 20 years as a business if you're not, but But we have a similar attitude. It's not about how do we get the most revenue next month. It's about how do we build a sustainable, great business. And both businesses were profitable before the deal. And I think about quality and sustainability in the same way.
How many employees are you bringing over as part of this?
So there's 17 people in the Getwork business, and they're all joining forces with the Adzuna team as part of the deal.
Yeah. So when I've been in the space for a long time, as you know, and when I think of Getwork, it doesn't have a big, B2C brand compared to the big guys in the space, Indeed and ZipRecruiter. So give me a sense of why you bought this company. And I imagine it's, a foothold into North America, which is always a plus, but give me some more of the why.
Yeah, it's it fits in lots of different ways from our point of view. So our business has been growing fastest in two parts of it over the last 3 to 4 years. North America as a geography, and enterprise, the sort of focus on moving away from that job board piece, or maybe not moving away from it, but growing even faster with companies and enterprises. And clearly that, the Getwork business is 100% in both of those. Like that's all it does. It's an
employers-only job search engine.
It's an employer-only job search engine. Unlike lots and lots of other job search engines that, including us, that also do the arbitrage stuff where you're selling to other job boards, and there's sort of money flowing around. You can't quite work out where it first came from and where it ends, right? The user gets redirected 17 times. Getwork is a pure enterprise focus. So that was really exciting for us. That brings clients, it brings a way of thinking about the business. It brings a sales capability, it brings client management capability. So a bunch of things that we got excited about. As a UK headquartered business with a significant US operation, we've had people on the ground for 4 years in the US. But it was 5 or 6 people before this deal. So this substantially, just gives us people who've got loads of expertise and experience in this market, the connections, things that sometimes get lost in translation when you're a Brit trying to do business in the US, just like they do when US businesses are trying to do business in internationally as well.
Could you tell us how much traffic Getwork has? Like, give me a sense of how big it is in terms of a job seeker traffic standpoint. They don't collect resumes either, right? They're just listing jobs and redirecting the seeker, from what I understand.
Yeah. Just listing jobs and a pay-per-click model, just like us. Very focused on great cost per application and conversion. The quality on the traffic is really, really high. It's millions of job seekers a month. I can't disclose the precise number. And then, between us, it will be 10 million plus visits a month, which is getting to that scale. You touched on, not being a big consumer brand. I mean, Adzuna is not a big consumer brand in the US either yet. And so working together, we think over time we can get to that scale where you can start to rise above all those small players that are often started off as affiliates or quite arbitragey in the business, and start to become one of those brands that can genuinely compete at scale with the likes of Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter. It'll take us a while. Like this brings us more scale. It doesn't get us to their scale.
Well, I was gonna say it's gonna take you some advertising as well, because I can't turn on the TV without seeing a ZipRecruiter and Indeed ad. So I would expect you're gonna play in that market too, right?
We've made no commitment to do that yet, and it is something we would certainly consider when we get there. We did some testing in the UK in previous years. If you think about the path those businesses took in ZipRecruiter or Indeed, they didn't start by building their brand on TV. They started by building their audience, their service to their customers, by getting to a scale of revenues where the internet marketing channels get saturated. You have the clients and you have the monetization, but you don't potentially have enough audience, either from small employers or from consumers to keep growing your business. And so they got there through a series of steps. And I think we think of our journey that way as well. It's not go raise 100 million from VC, dump it on television advertising. It's, good luck if that's your strategy. There are plenty of businesses who've done that and aren't growing fast either, right? I mean, look at Monster. But so it's about having a sustainable product and business and delivering for your clients and growing every year and being profitable. Then you can fund sustainable advertising.
Yeah. So what's the plan going forward? From what I read in the press release, you're going to keep the brands separate, but do you ever see a day where you're essentially powering the Adzuna listings into Getwork or no?
So the intention is very much to operate two brands. As I touched on, they have slightly different positionings and client bases at the moment. We are going to look to deliver more to our clients by the combination of brands. So we may have two separate brands, but we'll offer our clients the opportunity to be listed across them and therefore grow the audience to them and what we can deliver to them. So there's sort of opportunities there. If you look at the Getwork client base as well, Getwork's a US only brand. They've got a bunch of great global blue chip clients. So we can offer services to those clients in other markets. We can help them with their advertising in Europe and Latin America and other geographies. So that's exciting as well. I think, as I touched on, I've been involved in M&A before, and we have to be really, really focused in the short term on just doing a great job of the integration, getting to know each other, sharing best practices, looking at those tools that we've both built separately and go, oh, how did these work? Wow, they did something really clever here. And we have a piece of technology there. And we looked at some of that through the acquisition process, of course, but there's actually more of that to do still. Now we're putting the teams together and saying, internet marketing team, work together. How would you run this campaign, et cetera. So that's really exciting. There's complementary expertise in the two businesses, I think there.
Doug, since you play in both markets, European and the US, how do you view them as far as the use of job boards go? I think it seemed like, just from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of job boards in Europe are a lot more used, especially on the niche side versus the US. But give me a sense of how you look at job boards in both markets.
Yeah, the US market is streets ahead in terms of adoption of pay for performance models, programmatic technology, and sort of key players there. And one of the strange things about our evolution as Adzuna, and one of the reasons we've grown so much in North America organically, is we built all of that technology in Europe and the UK when the market wasn't ready for it. And so we've seen incredible adoption in the US when we've gone over there, but it's also pushed us to be at the cutting edge, and then we can bring some of that back to Europe. And we're starting to see the same things happening in Europe. They're just taking a little bit longer. There are markets where there are, large job boards like Stepstone that have a really strong market share and are delivering really well for their customers at very high prices in Germany. And so it takes I think a bit longer for some of those trends to be adopted in there. But then Stepstone's bought Appcast. They are interested in that technology, and they are using it in beyond the US now as well. So I think we see a lot of the trends that happen in the US repeating in those other markets, and in our business, that's a great opportunity because we're one of the few players, beyond the likes of Indeed, that have a genuine, credible scale in both US and in Europe. So the things we learn in US, we can bring to Europe. Some of the things we learn in Europe, we can bring to the US, and that's great.
Yeah, very cool. Can we expect any more acquisitions this year? You guys done?
It definitely takes time to integrate and get it right. So we're a small team. As a senior team, we're got our hands full with this one. So we definitely see acquisition as a credible path to building that credible alternative to the likes of Indeed. A way of getting there faster. We think we can get there organically, but if we find the right assets, we will. So yes, we're still on the lookout for other acquisitions, but we have to be sensible about it as well. It'll take us some time to integrate this. So.
Yeah, following these playbook, they bought Simply Hire, they bought Glassdoor. They're basically gobbling up all the competitors, and that's what I would do if I were them. So might as well.
Yeah, it's a different game for us, though, right? We're not you're not the big guy who's kind of going, oh, this guy might be a threat. Let's take them out, right? It's
right.
You've got to genuinely make it work, I think, which is hard.
Yeah. Well, we need more buffers against the Indeeds of the world because they're, in a sense, they're too big already. They have a lot of sway in the industry, and I really like to see, other players in the space to kind of keep them honest. So,
thank you. Yeah, no, we're super excited about the space. We continue to grow. I'm 10 years in as a founder, but I'm as excited as I was on day one, and the opportunities with bringing that in. I think the industry, for me, needs credible alternatives, and that's what we hear from the clients and from the agencies. To do that, you need scale. So this helps us move towards that. And I think also I'm really optimistic. There's a lot of noise out there at the moment, right, about recession and layoffs and all the rest of it. I'm pretty optimistic. There's a long-term labor shortage in this market. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. People need the matching technology, the performance-based advertising to fill those roles. They need alternatives to these guys. So we're there'll be ups and downs. We've lived through some of those before, but I'm really, really optimistic about the opportunity for the combined company if we can get it right.
Well, I wish you well, Doug, and stay in touch. Keep us updated with the sites and the products, and we'll talk again.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate your time.
All right, that will do it for this episode of the RegTech Podcast. Be sure to follow us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, via the @RegTech BMW handle. See every podcast, video, and blog we publish. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. And remember, always be recruiting.